They told you renting was throwing money away, that homeownership was the only path to wealth, that if you weren't buying, you were failing at the American dream. What if I told you that in 2025, renting might be the smartest financial move you can make? Across America right now, the math has flipped. In cities from coast to coast, renters are pocketing thousands of dollars every month compared to buyers drowning in mortgage payments, insurance premiums, and property taxes that never stop climbing. This isn't about giving up on homeownership. This is about timing, strategy, and protecting your wallet while everyone else bleeds cash trying to keep up with a market that's working against them. In 2025, median home prices are still hovering near historic highs. Mortgage rates stuck above 6.5% mean monthly payments have nearly doubled compared to just 4 years ago. Then pile on property insurance that's spiking 30% to 50% in some markets. Add maintenance costs, HOA fees, property taxes that climb every single year. Meanwhile, rental markets in major cities are softening. Landlords are offering concessions, vacancy rates are creeping up, and renters are walking away with flexibility, lower monthly costs, and actual savings in the bank. But here's what nobody's talking about. The gap between renting and buying isn't small anymore. In some cities, we're seeing differences of $1,500, $2,000, even $3,000 per month. That's life-changing money. Money that could go toward investments, retirement, or building an emergency fund that actually protects you when things go sideways. So in this video, we're counting down the top 10 US cities where renting will absolutely crush buying in 2025. These aren't random picks. These are markets where the data is screaming one message: wait, rent, save, don't get trapped. From tech hubs to Sunbelt boomtowns, these cities all share one thing. Buying right now means paying a premium that makes zero financial sense. And if you're sitting there thinking about signing a mortgage in one of these places, you need to see these numbers first. We're breaking down median rent versus mortgage payments. We're looking at property taxes, insurance spikes, and market trends that show where prices might be headed next. And we're giving you the clarity to make a decision that protects your future, not someone else's commission check. So hit that subscribe button right now. Turn on notifications because Discover Cities is bringing you real data, honest breakdowns, and housing market insights you won't find anywhere else. We're not here to sell you a dream. We're here to show you the truth. Let's dive into number 10.
Number 10. Boston, Massachusetts. Boston. Historic streets, world-class universities, and a housing market that punishes anyone trying to buy their way in. In 2025, the median home price in Boston sits at $730,000. Sounds brutal, right? It gets worse when you break down what that actually costs you every month. With a 20% down payment and current mortgage rates hovering around 6.8%, your monthly payment lands at roughly $4,100. But that's just the start. Property taxes in Boston average $6,200 annually. That's another $515 per month. Homeowners insurance? Around $1,800 per year, or $150 monthly. And if you're buying a condo, which most people are, tack on HOA fees averaging $400 to $600 per month. Add it all together, and you're looking at $5,200 to $5,400 monthly just to own a home in Boston. Now, compare that to renting. The median rent for a 2-bedroom apartment in Boston sits at $3,100 per month. That's a difference of over $2,000 every single month. That's $24,000 per year staying in your pocket instead of vanishing into ownership costs. But the story gets deeper. Boston's housing market is showing clear signs of fatigue. Inventory has jumped 18% since last year. Homes are sitting on the market longer, averaging 45 days compared to 28 days in 2023. And sellers are getting desperate. Nearly 22% of listings saw price cuts in the first quarter of 2025. Translation? The market is softening, and buyers who jump in now might watch their property values stagnate or even dip over the next 12 to 24 months. Meanwhile, rental inventory is climbing too. New apartment buildings finished construction throughout 2024, flooding the market with units. Landlords are offering move-in specials, 1 month free, waived fees, flexible lease terms. The power has shifted back to renters. And here's the kicker. Boston's population growth has slowed dramatically. Between 2022 and 2024, the metro area lost over 15,000 residents. Young professionals are leaving for cheaper cities. Remote workers are relocating to places where their salary stretches further. The demand that once propped up Boston's insane prices is cracking. So what does that mean for you? If you're renting in Boston right now, you're winning. You're mobile, you're saving thousands every month, and you're not tied to a market that's showing every sign of correction. Buying in Boston in 2025 means betting that prices will keep climbing despite all evidence pointing the other way. It means locking yourself into a mortgage that eats half your income. And it means losing the flexibility to move when better opportunities show up. Because they will. Boston will always have prestige. The history, the culture, the universities aren't going anywhere. But in 2025, renting here isn't settling. It's strategy. If this breakdown is opening your eyes, don't keep scrolling without subscribing. Hit that button now because Discover Cities is delivering housing truths that protect your financial future.
Number 9. Salt Lake City, Utah. Salt Lake City. Mountain views, outdoor paradise, and a housing market that exploded so fast it left locals gasping for air. Just 5 years ago, Salt Lake City was affordable, a hidden gem where young families could actually buy homes without selling their souls. But 2025 tells a different story. The median home price has rocketed to $585,000, up nearly 60% since 2020. And the math for buyers has turned brutal. With a 20% down payment and mortgage rates locked near 6.9%, your monthly payment hits around $3,400. Add property taxes averaging $3,500 annually, that's another $290 per month. Homeowners insurance runs about $1,400 yearly, or $115 monthly. Maintenance and repairs? Budget at least $200 per month if you want to keep things functional. Total monthly cost to own? Around $4,000 to $4,200. Now look at renting. The median rent for a 2-bedroom apartment in Salt Lake City sits at $1,850 per month. That's a $2,200 monthly difference. Over a year, renters are saving more than $26,000 compared to buyers. That's not pocket change. That's a down payment somewhere else. That's investing in your future instead of feeding a mortgage that's underwater before you even move in. But the warning signs go deeper. Salt Lake City's boom was fueled by pandemic migration, remote workers fleeing California, tech companies opening satellite offices, investors betting on growth. That wave is crashing. Population inflows have slowed by 40% compared to 2022. Companies are scaling back. Remote work policies are tightening. The demand that sent prices soaring is evaporating. And the market knows it. Inventory in Salt Lake City jumped 25% year over year. Homes that used to sell in 10 days are now sitting for 50 days or longer. In Q1 2025, 28% of listings dropped their asking price. Sellers are panicking, and buyers are finally waking up to the fact that they don't have to overpay anymore. Meanwhile, rental construction has flooded the market. New apartment complexes are opening across the valley, and landlords are competing hard for tenants. Rent growth has stalled. Some areas are even seeing modest declines. If you're negotiating a lease right now, you've got leverage. Here's what nobody's saying out loud. Salt Lake City's boom was artificial. It wasn't driven by job growth or economic fundamentals. It was driven by hype, migration, and FOMO. And when the hype fades, prices follow. So if you're renting in Salt Lake City, stay put. You're dodging a financial bullet. You're keeping your options open, and you're watching from the sidelines as buyers who jumped in at the peak start questioning every decision they made. Buying here in 2025 means gambling that the boom will return. Renting means betting on yourself with $26,000 extra in your pocket every year.
Number 8. Dallas, Texas. Dallas. Big city energy, no state income tax, and a housing market that's supposed to be affordable. Except in 2025, that affordability narrative is crumbling fast. The median home price in Dallas has climbed to $425,000. Not California expensive, but paired with Texas property taxes, the real cost hits different. Let's break it down. With the 20% down payment and mortgage rates sitting around 6.7%, your monthly payment lands at roughly $2,500. But here's where Texas gets you. Property taxes in Dallas average a crushing 2.3% of your home's value annually. On a $425,000 home, that's $9,775 per year, or $815 every single month. Homeowners insurance in Texas has skyrocketed, averaging $3,500 annually, another $290 monthly. Add in maintenance, HOA fees for newer builds, and utilities, and you're looking at a total monthly cost of $3,800 to $4,100. Now compare that to renting. The median rent for a two-bedroom apartment in Dallas sits at $1,650 per month. That's a difference of over $2,200 monthly. Renters in Dallas are saving more than $26,000 per year compared to buyers. And the gap is widening. Why? Because Dallas overbuilt. Developers went wild during the pandemic boom, throwing up subdivisions and apartment complexes across the Metroplex. Now, inventory is piling up. In early 2025, active listings jumped 32% compared to last year. Homes are sitting unsold for 60 days or more, and nearly 25% of listings had price reductions in Q1. The rental market tells the same story. Vacancy rates have climbed to 8.2%, one of the highest in the nation. Landlords are scrambling, offering 2 months free rent, waived deposits, and upgraded units just to fill spaces. If you're renting in Dallas right now, you're negotiating from a position of power. But here's the real problem for buyers. Dallas's job market, once red hot, is cooling. Corporate relocations have slowed, tech layoffs are trickling through, and the population boom that drove prices up is flattening out. Between 2023 and 2024, net migration into Dallas dropped by nearly 40%. The hype that turned Dallas into a destination is fading, and prices are starting to reflect that reality. Meanwhile, property taxes keep climbing. Texas funds everything through property taxes, no state income tax, remember? So every year your tax bill goes up regardless of whether your home value does. Buyers who locked in at $425,000 are watching their monthly costs creep higher while their equity stays flat or worse. So what's the play? If you're renting in Dallas, stay there. You've got options. You're saving real money every month, and you're not handcuffed to a market that's showing every sign of correction. Buying in Dallas in 2025 means paying peak prices in a softening market with property taxes that never stop rising. Renting means flexibility, savings, and the freedom to move when better opportunities show up. This is the reality check you need.
Number 7. Denver, Colorado. Denver. Rocky Mountain views, 300 days of sunshine, craft breweries on every corner, and a housing market that's pricing out the very people who made the city cool. In 2025, the median home price in Denver sits at $615,000. For a city that was considered affordable just a decade ago, that number is staggering. And when you calculate what it actually costs to own, the picture gets darker. With a 20% down payment and mortgage rates around 6.8%, your monthly payment hits approximately $3,600. Property taxes in Denver average $4,300 annually, adding another $360 per month. Homeowners insurance runs about $1,900 yearly, that's $160 monthly. Then factor in maintenance, utilities that spike during brutal winters, and the reality that most homes need serious upkeep in Colorado's harsh climate. Total monthly ownership cost? Around $4,300 to $4,500. Now look at renting. The median rent for a two-bedroom apartment in Denver is $2,100 per month. That's a $2,200 to $2,400 monthly difference. Renters are keeping an extra $27,000 per year in their pockets. But the savings are just part of the story. Denver's market is showing serious cracks. Inventory has surged 29% since last year. Homes that used to disappear in days are now lingering for 55 days or longer, and sellers are slashing prices. In Q1 2025, 26% of listings dropped their asking price, some by $30,000 or more, just to attract buyers who've completely vanished. What happened? Denver's boom was built on migration. California refugees, remote workers chasing mountain lifestyles, tech companies setting up shop. But that wave has crashed. Return-to-office mandates killed the remote work dream. Tech layoffs hit hard. And the cost of living in Denver, once the selling point against California, is now almost as suffocating. Between 2023 and 2024, Denver lost over 18,000 residents. Young professionals are leaving. Families are relocating to cheaper cities. The demand that pushed prices to absurd levels is gone, and the market is flooded with sellers who bought at the peak and are now desperate to get out. Rental inventory has exploded too. New apartment buildings finished in 2024 added thousands of units to a market where tenants are already negotiating hard. Landlords are offering concessions, free parking, reduced deposits, months of free rent. The power has completely shifted to renters. And here's what buyers aren't being told. Denver's infrastructure is straining. Traffic is brutal. Water rights are becoming a political nightmare. Climate concerns around drought and wildfires are real. Insurance companies are starting to price in those risks, and premiums are climbing faster than anyone expected. So if you're renting in Denver right now, you're not missing out. You're winning. You've got flexibility. You're saving serious money. And you're not trapped in a market that's correcting in real time while property taxes and insurance costs keep rising. Buying in Denver in 2025 means betting against every trend in the data. Renting means protecting your future while the market figures itself out. Stay ahead of the curve.
Number 6, Austin, Texas. Austin, live music capital, tech darling, the city that was supposed to be the next Silicon Valley. But in 2025, the dream is expensive, and the math for buyers is borderline insane. The median home price in Austin has hit $565,000. That's up over 70% from just 5 years ago. And when you factor in what it costs to own, the monthly damage is severe. With a 20% down payment and mortgage rates hovering at 6.7%, your monthly payment lands around $3,300. But Texas doesn't let you off easy. Property taxes in Austin average a brutal 2.1% of your home's value annually. On a $565,000 home, that's $11,865 per year, or nearly $990 every month. Homeowners insurance in Texas has gone haywire, averaging $4,200 annually in Austin. That's $350 monthly. Add maintenance, utilities, and HOA fees that plague newer developments, and your total monthly cost climbs to $4,800 to $5,100. Meanwhile, the median rent for a 2-bedroom apartment in Austin sits at $1,900 per month. That's a difference of nearly $3,000 monthly. Renters in Austin are saving over $35,000 per year compared to buyers. Let that sink in. $35,000. That's not just savings. That's investment money. That's financial security. That's freedom. But here's where Austin's story gets brutal. The city overbuilt. Developers went wild during the pandemic boom, racing to cash in on tech migration and remote work hype. Subdivisions sprawled across the outskirts, high-rise condos shot up downtown, and now the market is choking on inventory. Active listings in Austin jumped 38% year over year. Homes are sitting unsold for 65 days or longer, and price cuts are everywhere. In Q1 2025, over 30% of listings dropped their asking price. Some sellers have slashed prices by $50,000 or more, and still no offers. The rental market mirrors the chaos. New apartment complexes flooded Austin with units, and landlords are panicking. Vacancy rates hit 9.4%, one of the highest in Texas. Concessions are standard now. 2 months free, waived fees, free upgrades. If you're renting in Austin, you're negotiating from a position of total power. But the real warning sign? The migration wave has reversed. Austin's net population growth dropped 55% between 2023 and 2024. Tech layoffs gutted the industry that fueled the boom. Companies that relocated to Austin are now scaling back or leaving entirely.
Oracle, Tesla, they're not hiring like they used to. And remote workers who moved for the lifestyle are realizing Austin's cost of living rivals the cities they fled. So what's left? A housing market built on hype that's now collapsing under its own weight. Buyers who jumped in at $565,000 are watching their neighbors sell for less every month. Property taxes that climb relentlessly, and a rental market offering better deals every single day. If you're renting in Austin, don't let anyone shame you. You're not missing the boat. You're dodging a financial disaster.
Number 5, Seattle, Washington. Seattle, Emerald City, tech powerhouse, coffee culture, and a housing market that's been punishing buyers for over a decade. In 2025, that punishment has reached new levels. The median home price in Seattle sits at $825,000. For most people, that number alone is disqualifying. But let's break down what owning actually costs you every month. With a 20% down payment and mortgage rates around 6.8%, your monthly payment hits roughly $4,850. Property taxes in Seattle average $7,400 annually. That's another $615 per month. Homeowners insurance runs about $1,600 yearly, or $135 monthly. And if you're buying a condo, which most first-time buyers are, HOA fees average $400 to $700 per month. Add it all together, and you're staring at a total monthly cost of $6,000 to $6,300. Now, compare that to renting. The median rent for a 2-bedroom apartment in Seattle is $2,600 per month. That's a staggering $3,400 to $3,700 monthly difference. Renters in Seattle are saving over $42,000 per year compared to buyers. $42,000. That's not just savings, that's wealth building. That's retirement contributions. That's actual financial security while buyers drown in payments they can barely afford. But the market dynamics make it even worse for buyers. Seattle's housing boom was powered by Amazon, Microsoft, and the tech ecosystem that grew around them, but in 2025, that engine is sputtering. Tech layoffs slammed the city throughout 2023 and 2024. Over 35,000 tech workers lost jobs. Companies scaled back office space, hiring froze, and the demand that kept Seattle's prices inflated started crumbling. The data tells the story. Inventory in Seattle jumped 24% year over year. Homes are sitting on the market for 50 days or longer, and sellers are cutting prices. In Q1 2025, 27% of listings saw price reductions, some dropping $75,000 or more just to attract interest that isn't there. Meanwhile, the rental market is softening fast. New apartment towers finish construction across the city, flooding the market with units. Landlords are offering aggressive concessions, 1 to 2 months free, waived move-in costs, upgraded finishes. The supply finally caught up with demand, and renters have leverage they haven't had in years. But here's what makes Seattle especially risky for buyers right now. The city's population growth has stalled. Between 2022 and 2024, Seattle lost nearly 22,000 residents. Workers are leaving for cheaper cities. Families are relocating to suburbs outside King County where costs are lower. And remote workers who don't need to be near the office anymore are choosing places where $825,000 buys a mansion, not a teardown. Seattle still has the jobs, it still has the culture, but in 2025, buying here means paying peak prices in a declining market with no guarantee of appreciation. It means locking yourself into payments that consume your income, and it means losing the flexibility to leave when better opportunities appear, and they will. Renting in Seattle isn't settling, it's survival, it's strategy. And it's saving you over $40,000 a year.
Number 4, San Diego, California. San Diego, endless summer, Pacific beaches, perfect weather year-round, and a housing market that's completely detached from financial reality. In 2025, the median home price in San Diego sits at $925,000. Not a mansion, not oceanfront, just an average home in America's finest city. And when you calculate the true cost of ownership, the numbers become suffocating. With a 20% down payment and mortgage rates locked near 7%, your monthly payment hits approximately $5,450. Property taxes in California average 1.1% annually. On a $925,000 home, that's $10,175 per year, or $850 monthly. But here's where San Diego gets brutal. Homeowners insurance has exploded. Wildfire risk, coastal exposure, climate threats, premiums now average $3,800 annually. That's $315 per month. Add HOA fees for most properties, averaging $350 to $500 monthly, plus maintenance and utilities, and your total cost lands between $7,200 and $7,500 per month. Now look at renting. The median rent for a two-bedroom apartment in San Diego is $3,200 per month. That's a difference of $4,000 to $4,300 monthly. Renters in San Diego are saving over $50,000 per year compared to buyers. $50,000. That's not a rounding error. That's life-changing money staying in your account instead of vanishing into a mortgage that barely builds equity. But the market is sending even clearer warnings. San Diego's inventory has jumped 21% since last year. Homes that used to sell in 15 days are now sitting for 60 days or longer. Bidding wars have disappeared, and sellers are slashing prices. In Q1 2025, 28% of listings dropped their asking price, some by 6 figures, just to attract buyers who've completely walked away. Why? Because the math stopped working. Dual-income households making $200,000 can barely qualify for average homes. Young professionals are leaving for cities where their salaries actually stretch, and the retirees who once flooded San Diego are reconsidering whether paradise is worth going broke. The rental market is shifting too. New construction added thousands of units in 2024. Landlords are competing hard. Concessions are everywhere. Free parking, reduced deposits, months of free rent. If you're negotiating a lease in San Diego right now, you've got power. But here's the kicker. Climate risk is no longer theoretical. Wildfire seasons are longer and more destructive. Insurance companies are pulling out of California entirely. Some homeowners can't get coverage at any price, and those who can are paying premiums that double every few years. Add rising sea levels threatening coastal properties, water restrictions impacting quality of life, and property taxes that climb relentlessly through reassessments. Buying in San Diego in 2025 means shouldering risks that didn't exist 5 years ago. So if you're renting in San Diego, you're not missing out on the dream. You're avoiding a financial nightmare. You're keeping $50,000 per year, you're staying mobile, and you're watching from the sidelines as buyers who stretched themselves too thin start drowning in costs they can't sustain. San Diego will always be beautiful, but beauty doesn't pay your bills. Strategy does.
Number 3, Los Angeles, California. Los Angeles, city of dreams, entertainment capital, endless sprawl, and a housing market that's become a nightmare for anyone trying to buy. In 2025, the median home price in Los Angeles sits at $950,000. That's for an average home. Not Beverly Hills, not Malibu, just a standard property in a city where affordability died years ago. Let's break down what owning actually costs. With a 20% down payment and mortgage rates hovering at 7%, your monthly payment lands at roughly $5,600. Property taxes at California's 1.1% rate add another $10,450 annually. That's $870 per month. Homeowners insurance in LA has skyrocketed due to wildfire risk and crime rates, now averaging $4,500 per year or $375 monthly.
Add in HOA fees for most properties, averaging $400 to $600 monthly, plus maintenance, utilities, and unexpected repairs, and your total monthly cost climbs to $7,500 to $7,800. Compare that to renting. The median rent for a two-bedroom apartment in Los Angeles is $3,400 per month. That's a difference of over $4,000 monthly. Renters in LA are saving more than $50,000 per year compared to buyers. But the cost isn't the only problem. LA's market is cracking. Inventory has surged 26% year over year. Homes are sitting unsold for 70 days or longer, and desperate sellers are slashing prices. In Q1 2025, nearly 31% of listings dropped their asking price. Some properties have been reduced multiple times, down $100,000 or more, and still no offers. What's driving the collapse? People are leaving. LA lost over 42,000 residents between 2023 and 2024. The entertainment industry is contracting. Tech companies are downsizing. Remote workers are relocating to states where their income goes further. And the middle class that once anchored LA's neighborhoods has been priced out entirely. Crime remains a major issue, too. Property crime rates are up. Car thefts, break-ins, catalytic converter thefts. It's relentless. Buyers are factoring in security systems, higher insurance, and the psychological toll of living somewhere that doesn't feel safe anymore. Then there's the wildfire risk. Parts of LA are now considered high-risk zones. Insurance companies are refusing coverage or charging premiums that rival mortgage payments. Some homeowners are stuck with California's FAIR plan, bare minimum coverage that leaves them exposed if disaster strikes. Meanwhile, the rental market is softening. New apartment buildings have added supply. Landlords are offering deals, 1 month free, reduced deposits, flexible lease terms. Renters have options they haven't had in over a decade. So here's the reality. Buying in Los Angeles in 2025 means paying nearly $1 million for a property in a declining market with rising risks and costs that never stop climbing. It means financial stress that impacts every part of your life. And it means being trapped when opportunities to leave eventually show up. Renting means keeping $50,000 per year in your pocket. It means flexibility. It means not being handcuffed to a city that's bleeding residents and showing no signs of recovery. LA still has the glamour, but glamour doesn't build wealth. Smart decisions do.
Number 2, San Jose, California. San Jose, heart of Silicon Valley, tech capital of the world, and home to the most distorted housing market in America. In 2025, the median home price in San Jose sits at an eye-watering $1.4 million. Not for a luxury estate, not for a sprawling compound. For an average single-family home in a city where tech money has warped every sense of normal. Let's calculate what ownership actually costs. With a 20% down payment and mortgage rates at 7%, your monthly payment hits approximately $8,250 per month. Property taxes at California's 1.1% rate add $15,400 annually. That's another $1,285 per month. Homeowners insurance averages $4,200 yearly or $350 monthly. HOA fees for most newer developments run $500 to $700 per month. Factor in maintenance, utilities that spike in California's energy market, and you're staring at a total monthly cost of $10,500 to $11,000. Now look at renting. The median rent for a 2-bedroom apartment in San Jose is $3,600 per month. That's a jaw-dropping difference of nearly $7,000 monthly. Renters in San Jose are saving over $80,000 per year compared to buyers. $80,000. That's not just savings, that's generational wealth building. That's early retirement contributions. That's financial independence while buyers work themselves into the ground just to keep a roof over their heads. But here's where San Jose's story gets ugly. The tech boom that drove prices to absurd levels is over. Layoffs have gutted the industry. Meta, Google, Apple, Cisco,
Tens of thousands of jobs eliminated since 2023. Hiring freezes are standard. And the high-paid engineers who could afford a $1.4 million homes are either unemployed or relocating to cheaper cities where remote work is still an option. The market reflects the carnage. Inventory in San Jose jumped 33% year over year. Homes are sitting unsold for 75 days or longer, and sellers are slashing prices in desperation. In Q1 2025, 35% of listings dropped their asking price. Some properties have been reduced by $200,000 or more, and buyers still aren't biting. Why? Because the risk-reward doesn't compute anymore. Paying $1.4 million for a home in a city losing population and jobs is financial suicide. San Jose lost over 28,000 residents between 2022 and 2024. Tech workers are leaving. Families are relocating to Texas, Arizona, Nevada, anywhere the cost of living doesn't crush them. Rental inventory has exploded too. New apartment towers and converted office spaces are flooding the market. Landlords are offering massive concessions, 2 to 3 months free, waived fees, upgraded units. The supply-demand balance has completely flipped. And here's the part nobody talks about. Even if you can afford $11,000 per month, why would you? That's money that could be invested in index funds, real estate and appreciating markets, or building a business. Instead, it's vanishing into a depreciating asset in a declining city. San Jose still has the tech legacy. It still has the innovation culture. But in 2025, buying here is betting against every market signal screaming correction. Renting means saving $80,000 per year. That's not settling, that's winning. One city left because number one will shock you.
Number 1, San Francisco, California. San Francisco, the Golden Gate, innovation capital, the city that built the future, and in 2025, the most financially punishing place to buy a home in America. The median home price in San Francisco sits at $1.45 million. For that price, you're not getting a mansion. You're getting a dated condo with shared walls, limited parking, and HOA drama that never ends. Let's break down the real cost of ownership. With a 20% down payment and mortgage rates at 7%, your monthly payment lands at approximately $8,500. Property taxes at 1.1% add $15,950 annually. That's $1,330 per month. Homeowners insurance averages $5,200 yearly due to earthquake risk and property crime, another $435 monthly. HOA fees in San Francisco average $800 to $1,200 per month for most condos. Add in maintenance, utilities, and Mello-Roos assessments that hit certain neighborhoods, and your total monthly cost explodes to $11,500 to $12,000. Compare that to renting. The median rent for a 2-bedroom apartment in San Francisco is $3,800 per month. That's a difference of nearly $8,000 monthly. Renters in San Francisco are saving over $95,000 per year compared to buyers. $95,000 every single year. That's not just money, that's freedom, that's wealth. That's the difference between financial security and barely surviving. But the numbers only tell part of the story. San Francisco is collapsing from the inside. Since 2020, the city has lost over 65,000 residents. Tech workers fled during the pandemic and never came back. Companies downsized office space. Entire floors sit vacant. The downtown core feels abandoned. Crime has ravaged neighborhoods that were once desirable. Car break-ins, retail theft, open-air drug markets. It's relentless. Homeowners are paying for security systems, garage parking, and private patrols just to feel marginally safe. And the housing market reflects the decay. Inventory has surged 41% year over year. Homes are sitting unsold for 80 days or longer. In Q1 2025, 37% of listings dropped their asking price. Luxury condos that sold for $2 million in 2021 are now listed at $1.5 million, with no buyers in sight. But here's the kicker. Even at reduced prices, buying makes no sense. Property values are falling, rents are stagnant or declining, and the city's tax base is crumbling as businesses and residents leave. San Francisco is facing a fiscal crisis that will likely result in higher property taxes and reduced services. Meanwhile, rental concessions are everywhere. Landlords are desperate. 3 months free, reduced deposits, fully furnished units. The power has completely shifted to renters, who can negotiate deals that were unthinkable just 2 years ago. So if you're renting in San Francisco, you're not missing out, you're surviving. You're saving nearly $100,000 per year. You're keeping your options open. And you're watching buyers trapped in properties they overpaid for, drowning in costs they can't afford, stuck in a city that's lost its shine. San Francisco still has history, it still has views, but in 2025, buying here isn't an investment, it's a trap.
So there you have it. The top 10 U.S. cities where renting will crush buying in 2025. From Boston to San Francisco, the pattern is clear. High home prices, brutal mortgage rates, climbing insurance costs, and markets showing every sign of correction.